Odd one out. Thank you very much for the $5 tip, my dude. You want tinfoil hats? You want Uncle Sotek? I don't know. Bomber 082, thanks for the 2 gift subs and 1 to odd one out. That was very sweet of you. Thank you. Do y'all want tinfoil hat Sotek right now at the beginning? Do y'all want me to call? Can you come up with like a nickname for tinfoil hat Sotek? Cause he's like cousin something. Oh, well, no, thanks for gifting the sub. All right. All right. All right. Listen up. Oh. Gonna be like. Like.
Ah, shit, Ricky, it's cousin Black Skull.
All right. Here we go. So, my prediction for the future of the vampire counts is pretty elaborate. I would say it's on par with my prediction of the Empire. So what I believe is this. I believe, do I have it on my desk? No, I keep it on the floor. It's not dignified enough to be on a desk. I believe that the vampire counts.
Welcome to Slovenia. I trust your voyage was most pleasant, eh?
Are going to get a Lord pack practically identical to the Warriors of, or the Champions of Chaos Lord pack. And here's why. I think the best way to do it would be that it comes in the exact same format, where you get 4 legendary lords, but there's one for each bloodline. So you get Neferata for the Lamians, you get Wallach Harkin for the Blood Dragons, you get Zacharias the Ever-Living for the Necrarchs, and you get Borag Bloody Tooth, the original Ghoul King, for the Strigoi. Neferata, of course, would start in the Silver Pinnacle, and they would bring a couple of they would each have a unique mechanic, but they also bring some new units. They don't require quite as much overall effort as the Champions of Chaos did. So instead of getting units that are like just the same units, but they've got like slight stat changes and stuff, instead of that, they would just come with some genuine new units, but not as many. So with Neferata, she brings us the Coven Throne. So we get the Coven Throne as a mount option for Lamian vampires, and we also get it for the Vampire Lord, and we also get it for, maybe it could even be a standalone mini as well. So we get the big Coven Throne model with her, and she starts at the Silver Pinnacle, and Neferata is going to have a version of the influence mechanic that the High Elves have, which is going to instead rely on either going to rely on blood kisses, or it's just going to give blood kisses more opportunity, but she may just have a straightforward influence mechanic. Furthermore, she is going to have a unique mechanic where whenever she kills enemy lords, Neferata has the ability, like Be'lakor does, to influence humans into becoming demon princes. Neferata has the ability to influence humans into becoming vampires, because that's actually an ability she had in tabletop. Is that she had an ability where she could literally turn someone into a vampire in battle, which was insane. All right. Then we go on to the Blood Dragons. So what are the Blood Dragons going to bring new to the table? Well, we're going to get Wallach Harkin, and Wallach Harkin could either start near where Blood Keep actually is. So he could start either in the Grey Mountains, or he could maybe start near just somewhere in that ballpark. So somewhere around here-ish, but on the Empire side of the mountains. Alternatively, you could literally put him anywhere else in the world, like send him further afield, because maybe he's hunting something. Maybe he's left Blood Keep because he's after something to fulfill his quest to impress Daddy Abarash. So maybe he's wandered off to Cathay and is fighting there to try and kill one of the dragon children so he can feast on their blood. Maybe he's gone further south. Maybe he's gone to the New World. He could literally go anywhere. But Wallach will bring us infantry blood dragons. So he will bring us elite vampire infantry. He would also come with a more hefty rework for vampire lords and vampire heroes in general, giving them a higher movement speed, because vampires are way too fucking slow. They were movement 6 on the ground in tabletop, and yet in this game they're like atrociously slow for no fucking reason. I could also see the vampires potentially having the Path to Glory system that the Chaos guys do. So they have their little personal achievements. So either it could either be a perversion of the Warriors of Chaos Path to Glory system, or it could be a perversion of the Grail system that Bretonia has, where they have to kill certain things or accomplish certain kinds of kills, and when they do that, they unlock permanent buffs. Then we go on to the Necrarchs, led by Zacharias the Everliving. And Zacharias is like the big boy Chungus. He's going to be really helping us get a lot of our, almost lost my hat there, a lot of our new units. So Zacharias the Everliving is going to be based in a new forest province that's going to be up here near Ostland, on the eastern side of the Middle Mountains. So it's going to add a vampiric threat into the north. And he is going to, of course, be leading the Necrarchs. And he's going to come with a flesh crafting system. So he's going to have a system very similar to Throt the Unclean, where he's able to use his necromantic research and dark magic to advance and specify all of his undead units. So he gets customizable undead units, because flesh crafting is a very important aspect of Necrarch culture. Furthermore, he's going to help us bring a lot of new units into the Vampire Count roster, like Unholy Armor, which Unholy Armor are possessed suits of armor and weapons that would just be these like empty suits of armor fighting people and could look super duper cool. And unlike most spirit units, they would actually have really, really high armor. So, you know, they just add like a really interesting new design, and from an animation perspective, they could do some really cool shit with those empty suit of armor villains. He's also going to bring us the Abyssal Terror mount. So Abyssal Terrors are kind of like Griffins. They're on par with Empire Griffins, High Elf Griffins, and Dark Elf Manticores. They're in that same ballpark. So they're below a dragon, but above a Hellsteed. And they will be mounts for vampire heroes and Master Necromancer lords. So Master Necromancers can now have a monstrous mount that has poisoned attacks, heavy armor piercing, and just makes them much more useful as fighters. Furthermore, on top of the Unholy Armor, we would get Patchwork Men, which Patchwork Men are much bigger zombies. So imagine, like, you know how Frankenstein was so big because, or Frankenstein's monster was so big because he was multiple bodies stitched together? That's a Patchwork Man. A Patchwork Man is a zombie that is created from multiple bodies, so they are significantly larger. And the big thing about them is that they have so much necromantic energy poured into them that they act as a locus for other necromantic undead. So he should give the encourage. The Patchwork Men should be kind of like an elite ogre type size unit of like super zombies, but they're more for being tanky, but they provide the encourage aura to other undead. So they help stabilize your other forms of undead. And maybe they can give them like a slight buff to some of their stats like melee defense. Furthermore, another unit that he would bring for us would be the, what's that movie where Nicolas Cage gets attacked by bees? Wickermen. The Wickermen. So Wickermen are a really, really, really cool vampiric unit. Wickermen, basically imagine like a scarecrow that ranges somewhere between 6 to 12 feet tall, which I know is a big range, but it depends on which version of it they go with. And its head is like, most of its body is like burning and on fire, and they have these giant razor claws because they're made out of like tools and stuff. So like imagine large flaming scarecrow type creatures that would be in a unit. Like they're, you know, maybe make them croc score to troll size. They have flaming attacks. and they're like really, really high damage, and they rely on a high physical resistance with some decent armor because they only have like specific weak spots, or maybe that could be represented by they have higher missile resistance because it's hard to like snipe their weak spot. And then the last new unit we would get with this DLC would of course be Spirit Hosts, and Spirit Hosts are just these swarms of terrifying spirits that they don't have a lot of damage, but the damage they do have is very heavily armor piercing, so they're they've got a ton of health. They're more as just like a big tar pit. So that's the Necroc side of things. And then last, we have the Strigoi. And coming with the Strigoi, we would get Vorag Bloodytooth, who would start down in the Marshes of Madness. He starts in the city of Morgheim and is your big Badlands vampire. And he comes with some notable improvements to the basic Ghoul King character to help separate them a bit more from the Strigoi Vampire Lord. Furthermore, he would also allow Strigoi, the Strigoi campaign to have access to Strigani units. And the Strigani units would basically give the vampire counts living cavalry. So they would have like living basic horsemen and living horsemen archers to help separate them very heavily from the von Carsteins, who of course have archer crossbowmen and handguns as their kind of bonus living infantry, because the Strigani are of course a notable aspect of Strigoi culture, being that they are the descendants of the people of Strigos. And his whole goal is really trying to fight his way across the mountains and get back to his fortress, the Fortress of Vorag, where he has like a super sexy landmark building. And he just, you know, he's all about like ghouls and crypt horrors and terrorgeists. And that is my prediction for the Vampire Count DLC, which will be the same size and price as the Champions of Chaos DLC. Thank you for coming. Let's get on with the campaign. Goodbye.